What would you say? I mean, you're 34 years into the fire service now, and you're shorter looking forward than looking backwards. What would you tell folks? What's this ride been like for you? What do you think are the most memorable parts you'll take from the fire services? In years from now as you retire, and what's the part you look at that you think is what makes this job so special?
That could be a long answer because there are so many things, but it translates into almost every aspect of the job. I didn't ever expect to be a fire chief, and here I am, and I think part of that is sharing with you and others the types of things that I've learned and what I've aspired to be my whole career. And now I have that opportunity as a fire chief to share that, so it's very important for me to do mentoring and working with the newest people in the organization and try to live by the example that I exhibit to the firefighters that work for me and for the city. There's been a number of different and difficult, disturbing incidents over the years. I won't miss those. But more often than not, it's been really exciting and exhilarating and thrilling to be part of incidents where we mitigate them or we gain control of an out-of-control situation. The brotherhood, as you had mentioned, I've worked with some of the finest people in my life and will probably have friendships until the day I die. And it's been very good for my family with regards to having a nice, comfortable life so that my kids go to a good school and I live and enjoy the area in which I live near here. So it's many aspects, but it's a very, very rewarding career. And I think tying that back to some of your early questions is because it's so rewarding, I think it's incumbent upon the candidate to try to match and give as much input as what the fire service gives back after 34 years. Very important.
Yeah, and I would think that as I look at that through my career as well, I think that when you start, your vision of what the fire service is like and will be like is not necessarily in alignment with what it really is. You start when you're first trying to get in a career, you think it's all calls and fires and action and things, and what it really becomes is much more than that.
It does, and I think you talked about, again, that brotherhood, living with people, living with men and women in tight quarters and sharing the problems and things that they are going through in their life and seeing the difficulties with which the people we respond to are going through. There's so much more to that. So, and I think that lends itself back to the earlier question about preparation. It's very exciting to get into a fire science program and take classes and do ride-alongs, but it's so much more than that. Once you get inside, you can deal with some of the most difficult people you've ever had to deal with in your life. And I don't mean the ones we respond to. I mean those that we actually work side by side with. So being able to get along and working for long periods of time and the physical exertion and the stresses that go along with that, can be very telling with some individuals. So yeah, I think there's a lot of pieces that candidates ought to be prepared for, that it's not just all exciting and exhilarating sirens blasting. It's far more than that, and that's part of that community service that we talked about and what you need to put into the fire department that you ultimately select or get hired by.
Yeah, and I think a big chunk of that, it falls into having life experience. You can't come right out of community college into the fire service without having much previous life experience other than going to school and dropping into this industry and be prepared for what you're going to experience, prepared for what you're going to see, prepared for people you're going to work with. I mean, through our career, we've known brothers that work and sisters in our industry that have gone through divorces and lost children and deaths of their parents, and you live with those folks and really have to try to, I mean, you feel every part of that when you're with them, right?
You do, and again, you learn those experiences by living and breathing with those people that you work with for up to the next 30 years or more. And those are difficult circumstances and hard for some individuals to understand because they may have come from a different background or different experiences. And perhaps the person that's been working at a very young age, like myself, working alongside one that hasn't had those experiences, there's going to be different experiences collectively that they will experience. So yeah, I think it gets complicated, And those people that have been involved in a number of different community events, playing sports, working with others are the types of people that are going to be more successful. But yes, that is a very important aspect of this job.
Yeah, I think finding those candidates that are rounded, that have life, that blend of life experience and community service, and have, you know, participated in different areas in their life through school, through work, through all those things is what really makes that candidate that we're looking for.
It is,
And
yes.
it's critical because those are people we're keeping for, 30 years is our hope, right?
That's right. And again, we could probably spend hours and hours talking about the various experiences that all of us have had, you and I included. And you can look at professional athletes, and you can look at the folks that were raised before the World War II and during the Depression and after, and they call that the greatest generation because they experienced things that many of us at a certain age don't even recall. There's not much history on it. But it did develop some of the best and most profound people in this country, and I think the fire service is no different. If you get those kinds of experiences, whether you're young and they occurred to you or you're experiencing them now, those are all valuable portions of what it takes to be successful.
I agree. Thank you very much.
Thank you.